Yeah, you think a little water got in that gear oil? Should go get today's project? Come on, let's go get today's project. Today it's going to be two-wheeled fun with a Chinese scooter, moped, whatever you want to call it. Let me show you guys around. So this is roughly a 2008, I don't know, Shenzhen something Chinese scooter. It's been replicated a billion times. They use a cloned Honda GY6 engine system. All these do. That's the only thing good about these is the engine, and everything else about them is just, in all honesty, utter garbage. And so you can see that we're just busted up everywhere. Most of this is just from sitting around. It didn't get in a crash or anything else. You know, just hopping off. You break off panels. It says ABS, but I'm pretty sure that means that the entire thing is made out of ABS plastic, not anti-lock braking system. Even though that's what it says. Pretty sure that's a typo. You know, the cheap vinyl. It was stored indoors for a good majority of its life, and it's kind of sat outside just for like about a year or so, and it just went completely downhill. So you pop over here. How many miles are on it? Well, we decided not to use any UV inhibitive plastic at all, so you can't tell even remotely. We can polish that up, but it just goes to show, you know, red buttons are no longer red, and you know, they're just random colors. But what off the bat needs to be done with this, besides probably a good carburetor clean, is the brakes. Both brakes, the again, really cheap plastic, the little sight glasses have rotted out and just dumped all their fluid out. The same thing with this one right here. I bought another one and I just set it on here. It's just sitting on there, but we can go over replacing those, and then we got to do quite a bit of plastic welding, rebuild the carburetor, drain a gas tank because it's old and gunky, and just go around it. Looks like it has some sort of an alarm, I guess. I don't know. This was with it, so we'll see about that, but let's get at it. So I tried pouring fluid in it, and it just dumps right out. Everything on these, you know, other than the engine. I'll tell you, the engines will keep running and running, but everything on these just falls completely apart. Pretty straightforward. This is my new one. Looks like it came with wiring already for the brake switch, for the brake light. It does not want to come off. Can we just plug that into the original harness? Get rid of all the original wire. Yeah, we can. All these pine needles and stuff are for me. I actually got this last winter, so I sat outdoors. It was not pretty when I got it, but pine needles are my addition to it. I don't even know if any of these things would bolt back on. Like, all the little plastic tabs are essentially broken off everywhere to combine this half with this half somehow. There it goes. It actually goes like this. So something like that down there. But we got the blinkers busted off somewhere hanging down here. That needs to be remounted as well. Let's put some brake fluid in and see if it'll just gravity bleed. It should just bubble and bleed itself. Doubt it, but we'll see. This one's already going down just a little bit. Let's well, that's nice brake, actually. Still got air coming out of both of them, but the brakes are good. There we go, under the seat. And there's our gas filler. That smells bad, but not like the worst. So hopefully we lucked out there. This was a family member's, and they used to ride this years and years ago. And I remember when he got this when I was only a couple years old. I had to rebuild the carburetor. I think I've done it twice, just because of the ethanol fuel. Looks like we just got a basic garbage toolkit and some bungee cords. But I remember being able to access it just through this little compartment right here. So we'll see if that's still true. Or if we got to remove all the plastics. There it is. Whether or not it's easy to get out is another story. I remember these being a little bit funky, that the even though the gas tanks up here, they're not just purely gravity fed. There's some sort of, and it might be this thing, a fuel shutoff, because it's a vehicle. If it rolls over, they don't want the fuel to keep flowing out. And I think I remember that giving me a little bit of trouble. I'll be back in a second after I pull all these little million hoses off and get it out of there. Nothing operates in here. Everything's sticky. Open the throttle and it doesn't even go back. So time for a thorough cleaning of the carburetor. That's fun. We're getting a nice puddle under there because I filled it up with fresh gas and letting it all leak out. Carburetor's clean, so now it's just a matter of putting it back in. Took forever to free up this throttle butterfly. We got it, so plug it back in, same way it came out. The gravity bled themselves just fine. Seem to be working great. So put a little anti-seize on the new screws, and we'll just run those in. Guess I got to clean all that out, but we got just on Amazon. You buy a battery real fast for 20 bucks, and you're good. Even check it came fully charged. I remember this thing being a pain in the butt and not wanting to flow fuel with the little, it has like a little shut-off valve for safety. So you got to essentially pump fuel in the very first time. So I pulled out my spark plug and it's completely dry. I cleaned it off, but check for spark. You guys probably can't see that, but there's good spark. That should be an engine. I don't know how much. That's probably way too much. There we go. Perfect. So I just got it propped in there, squirt it as I need it. Okay, we got a new problem, and that's this boot is cracked. So I'm actually sucking in air right there. So if I bend the carburetor, the crack opens up. So if I bend the carburetor, this crack opens up, and I just suck in air and it won't run. So got to do something about this. You can see it's just cracking everywhere. It's a piece of aluminum with rubber molded all the way around it. So there's really only one type of glue that can fix this, and that is this stuff. It is essentially cures to about the same hardness as the bottom of a shoe. So I'm going to smear this in here, and then I'm going to wrap it with this is kind of like self-sealing electrical tape. It's like rubber, but it vulcanizes to itself. This is the 3M's 2133 Temflex. Awesome stuff. Not really electrical tape at all. I mean, it's not sticky at all. It only bonds to itself. but I'll be able to wrap here, and it's really flexible, and it'll seal all this up. Really neat stuff. You stretch it out pretty far, and it actually completely just bonds to itself and vulcanizes to itself. That would probably hold it off good enough. And then we'll just allow the shoe goo kind of set up. Okay, you can't see the gauge cluster at all. This is what's called brown triple E, dry poly triple E. It's what you would use for plastics, and I use it all the time for headlights and gauge clusters, everything plastic. We're gonna load it on there. I did clean this with just, I just wiped it off so it's not dirty, and we'll just go at it. And I'll keep working at it, but let me get you in there close. It's that quick, that easy. Same thing with the headlights, stuff like that. I'll do around the edges. I'll work at it for a minute. Looks like we have 8,000 miles or something on it. So this piece is completely busted off right there. I thought it was one piece. And so I already plastic welded it back together. Plastic welded a seam right there. But I'm missing a big chunk right there. So I'm actually taking some HDPE plastic. And I have a whole video on this. I'm actually going to freeform this piece into here and work it in so you can't tell, because right now it looks like crap to have a big old chunk missing. There you go. Not perfect, but I just threw a piece in there real fast. Plastic welded it up. I have a whole video on that stuff. So now it just won't be blatantly obvious. It's actually kind of on the downside, so you won't just look right at it. Paint it black, and you'll never even notice. This mirror mount was actually snapped in half, so you weren't able to tighten it. It just has a turn signal switch and stuff on it in the mirror. So I just put a plate across the back with 2 screws. Little JB weld on the inside, but that right there will hold it. And then we'll just put it back together, because it's taking all the force, it's wanting to bend outwards, and so that will take up any force. The JB weld really doesn't do anything in there, but I got sidetracked for a minute letting that glue dry up, but it should be dry. It's actually been a couple hours. I ate dinner, and then I worked on the front to make it look prettier. So put it there, turn on. Fuel gauge works, I can see that now, and pull the brake. I guess I should have checked the tire pressure. I blew the bead. So we'll go in and, looks like it's tubeless, so we'll go in and just fill it up. So while I had the flat tire, I decided to take the hose to it. So I washed it up pretty good, and I've been kind of detailing it a little bit. The back tire, it just reseated it instantly. The front tire was 0 air pressure, and so I went to do that, and valve stem delete, so just had to throw a new valve stem in real fast. These are tubeless tires, so it's going back together good. It's cleaning up pretty good. The muffler's vibrating a little bit. I decided to install these little kick panels down here. Both these were missing. You can see that this one's kind of broken up. I kind of plastic welded it together. The other side, the entire front corner was completely missing. So I just quickly rebuilt that, plastic welding, and same with the whole back corner. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about this. I just sprayed the foam black for a second. I don't know. Everything else is going together. I may reupholster it. Threw it up on the lift really fast because I got to change the oils and stuff like that. The back, it's making a weird squeaky sound back here. I know there's this whole system runs off like a CVT belt, and then I think there's a little gear case that has gear oil back here. So we'll just make sure there's gear oil in there, drain it out. I just hear like squeaking. Thought it was the brakes. It could be the brakes. I don't know, but we'll clean the air filter, stuff like that. Change the oil, and then maybe I'll take a quick look at the Kickstarter. It's probably never ever been used, but it's frozen up. So if I can't quickly just free it up, I'll just remove the Kickstarter peg because there's no reason for it to be there. It's just in the way and makes you wonder why it's there and why you would never use it anyway, ever. Nobody ever does. Yeah, you think a little water got in that gear oil? Yeah, there's plenty in there. It's coming out of the top too now, so it was way over full and just... Get little pieces of something. They're heavy. So right here it looks like there's a blank tooth, and it was actually kind of sitting on this blank tooth, so that one allowed to turn, but I pulled it out past that blank tooth to where these other teeth are, and now it seems to turn just fine. So maybe it got wedged. It was like right there, like wedged up. So I think it was wedged up in the wrong position. Like last time the cover was off to change a belt or something, this wasn't pushed back into its gear, into its tooth properly. I don't see anything in here to show what these little chunks are. They look like they would just be like part of a casing or something, like a edge of something, so they don't look important, like gear teeth. I believe this is like a dual transmission, where this right here is centrifugal force, centrifugal force engages this, and then your constant velocity transmission, your CVT, actually changes gear ratio. So this one right here shrinks in and the belt rises out, so this becomes a larger pulley, this becomes a smaller pulley, and changes your gear ratios throughout the whole driving range. Everything actually looks good in here, and the belt looks fantastic. So I examined these chunks of metal that I found in the casing, and they just look like a piece of flashing back here, just like a rib or something. So I'm wondering, since the belt looks so new, if like the old belt broke or something. And these are just kind of left because I found this big piece kind of just tucked way back in a crevice, and I think these they got some weird marks on them, but I found them where they would be directly under this, so I think they've just been chewed up. So this was probably just one big piece, you know, about the size of a quarter, maybe not as big. Yeah, probably about the size of a quarter, and they just kind of got chewed up and been kicked around in there for a while. But I'm not concerned. They're not something that holds oil in, or they don't look like, I mean, they're this thick. They're not anything structural. You can tell me. That's the front tire. It was completely empty. So got to break the bead and put some Where is it? Right here. Bead seal her on real fast, and she'll seal up beautifully. It's easy. Yeah, that's the seat. It's just too bad. I can't live with it, so bust out my vinyl, and we're just gonna sew a very basic cover. Try to just make it quick and easy, nothing fancy. I will save you guys. I'm gonna leave the old cover on. I'm gonna cover the cover instead of going down to the foam, just cause. So I just made some quick newspaper templates. Put them here, and we'll just make them out of vinyl real fast, sew them together. It's just a couple sew spots. Yes, I know how to sew. And then we'll just strap it on, glue it to this one, and be done with it. Seat cover. Now we just gotta strap it on. There you go. Little bit of, you'll never get perfectly smooth if your base layer isn't perfectly smooth. So the little bit of cracking and stuff underneath will kind of echo through into the top, and that's fine. This is not a nice seat cover. This is just a seat cover that doesn't get your butt wet. That's all it is. So I'll just staple it from the inside, glue it, do something, fasten it from around the inside lip, keep stretching it, heating it, and it'll be good to go. And if you didn't do it in pieces, if you just tried to do one piece, you would never get it to go in this dip. It would just go straight across. You'd never get it to suck into here. On the front, if I didn't put this extra piece in, it would just be a bunch of, it would be all wrinkly here. And same with on the back, you just have a bunch of wrinkles and it would never sit straight. So we'll bolt that down, but, oh, not lock. It looks beautiful. Look at that. There we go. It runs nice and sweet. It runs really good. The brakes work fantastic. Didn't even have to bleed those. They self-bled themselves. Everything cleaned up nice. Some of the plastics had to be, I had to put some aluminum things over some of the plastic joints. The plastic is just too broken up where your foot just constantly comes off and kicks it. But cleaned up really nice. Ended up painting, I think there was a reflector or something back here. And then painting the whole top of this black. I just thought it matched. Looked a little bit like it better, but there we go. Let's go do something with it now. Should be this high. Look at this. What do you think? About like this? Is that good enough? Or maybe like that? Like this? That high? What do you think? We're gonna go for it. Higher.
Who's the one doing it?
Me.
On what?
Okay.
We need it taller.
We need it taller. 40.
to me and more.